is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson.
Welcome to KPVM TV and Ace Country Radio's News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell. It's Thursday, June 10th. Well, a Pahrump family is sorting through what's left of their home after a windswept fire burned much of their property Wednesday night. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue Chief Scott Lewis explains what firefighters were faced with as they arrived on scene near Linda Street and Joy Lane.
Just after 10 o'clock last night, we were dispatched for an unknown type fire. The exact address was unknown. Dispatchers were receiving many telephone calls reporting a large fire, but didn't provide an actual address. As we neared the scene, we had a very large visible fire showing. A very dark colored smoke plume was developing. We were arriving in wind-driven conditions. We found a large fire that involved multiple structures, an overabundance of personal property, vehicles. It had multiple exposures, including an RV park just to the north, another primary dwelling located on the same property, also with an equal amount of personal property stored about it, ground cover, and also nearby homes just to the east. So with the wind-driven conditions, we placed this at a very high risk. Our scene size-up revealed that we had discharging ammunition, we had discharging fireworks, we had white metals, which means when we introduced water to them, they burned hotter than being extinguished. So a lot of things to consider. And of course, this fire occurred in a no hydrant area. So we had to bring the water with us. Access was difficult in many parts of the property. But crews did a really good job. They maintained the plan that was developed, enacted the plan, stayed with it, and the fire was under control within about an hour's time, and the fire did not extend past the property of origin.
Do you know how it started?
Yeah, it appears to be accidental in nature. It was indicated that one of the occupants was trying to refill a butane lighter. At some point, there was an introduction of an ignition source, open flame, thought to be maybe a candle. The butane ignited. It then extended to the point where it was no longer could be controlled by holding it. It was tossed, and then the fire ensued. Wow. We did treat two of the occupants and assess them medically, but they refused transport for burns sustained during that butane exchange.
Well, a rollover accident this afternoon causes severe damage to one vehicle and sends the driver to Desert View Hospital. Nevada Highway Patrol is investigating the cause of a single vehicle rollover that occurred this afternoon on Highway 160 just south of Rainbow Avenue. According to witnesses who spoke to Nevada Highway Patrol, the female driving this white Jeep attempted to pass them on the right-hand side of the roadway in the dirt when she lost control of her vehicle, going across the roadway and ending up overturning on the dirt embankment. She was transported by ground ambulance to Desert View Hospital with injuries sustained as a result of this crash. No other vehicles or any other individuals were involved in this accident. Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies blocked traffic and diverted it around the scene of the crash, while Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue attended to the patient. Well, two pickups collide at a Pahrump intersection Wednesday night. Both vehicles had to be towed from the scene, but no one was seriously hurt. One 8-year-old occupant was transported by personal vehicle to be medically evaluated for a left wrist injury following a two-vehicle crash that occurred last night on Blagg Road and Blosser Ranch Road here in Pahrump. Both vehicles were towed from the scene. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue, Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies, and auxiliary units arrived at the scene of the crash. Nye County Sheriff's Office Traffic Division conducted the accident investigation. The road was closed during the investigation and cleanup of both vehicles. And a man has been arrested in Tonopah after a call regarding a stolen vehicle.
Deputies received a call from the National 9 Inn in Tonopah about a possible stolen vehicle. They spoke to the manager, who said that a customer had parked a black Dodge in the back parking lot and it had been there a few months. Over the past few weeks, the truck had come up missing. Deputies found the owner of the vehicle and called to see if he wanted to report the truck stolen. The owner informed deputies that the truck had been reported stolen out of Las Vegas in November. He provided them with a description of the truck and stated that there were 2 sets of keys left in the truck and 1 set had a smart key on it. Law enforcement then located the truck driving on a dirt road off of Howerton Hill and attempted a traffic stop. The truck went over a hill and turned into a private property. As the deputy approached the vehicle, he noticed that the driver's seat was empty and a search of the area found no one. After running the VIN number, it was learned that the truck had been stolen out of Las Vegas. Speaking to a witness that lives on the property the truck was parked at, deputies found that one of 2 people that had allegedly been driving the truck was Justin Connor. Deputies were granted a search warrant that was served on May 25th. According to the declaration of arrest, during the search they found 7 bottles of prescription medicine that belonged to the owner of the truck. Also located was a set of Dodge keys. One of the keys started the truck. Deputies also allegedly found 2 glass pipes and 3 bongs. A white powdery substance located in a pipe tested presumptively positive for methamphetamine. After the search, Justin Connor was confirmed to have had a felony warrant out of the Tonopah Justice Court with a cash bail of $5,000. Connor was arrested for possession of stolen property, possession of a stolen vehicle, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of a Schedule I and II controlled substance, and failure to appear after bail on a felony crime.
More local news after this break.
You're watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back. There's growing concern about inflation. Shares of payment processor Marquita start strong, and there's growing interest in meme stocks.
Here's Angela Miles with today's Business First Brief.
Topping our news, inflation is in focus with prices on the rise. The CEO of Sherwin-Williams is the latest to admit consumers will be spending more on paint. But most shoppers are finding their grocery bills are going up. It's happening as factories that were idle during the pandemic are now struggling to get enough raw materials, while retailers are in a rush to restock inventory. There's even a shortage of shipping containers. In our IPO watch, shares of Marqeta, a payments processing company that has Uber as a customer, rallied in its debut on the NASDAQ. The California startup has a market cap of $17 billion. The Reddit Raider traders are adding prison operator Geo Group and clean energy fuels to the growing list of meme stocks. On Tuesday, trading in Clover Health and Wendy's went wild.
And this afternoon, Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue were called for a mutual aid assignment on Highway 160 near the Sandy Valley turnoff. This is right before Mountain Springs for a brush fire that was reported off the highway. It's unclear how this fire started at this time and how many acres were actually involved. BLM and Clark County Fire are still on scene doing the mop-up of that brush fire there. And a man who had fled the scene of a burglary, leaving his children and their mother at the location, has been identified.
On April 28th, the Nye County Sheriff's Office was dispatched to a Pahrump address for a reported burglary in progress. Deputies were advised by the reporting party that a red Ford Focus was parked in his driveway. The reporting party also stated that he observed a white male adult, later identified as Dakota Trankel, exit the rear of the residence. Deputies were also told that there were small children and a white female adult that was carrying several curling irons with Trankel. Trankel then jumped the back fence of the property and fled the scene on foot. The female was Mirandized and agreed to speak with law enforcement. She stated that the 2 of them had entered the residence and gave a nonsensical explanation and was arrested on scene. Trankel was not located until May 26th and had been arrested on an unrelated case. He waived his Miranda rights and was questioned regarding the burglary. Dakota Trankel was then arrested for burglary of a structure and conspiracy burglary.
Thanks to Missy Kohler for that report. Well, Hypno Comics and Games in Pahrump is working to make some big names come to town. Tracy Lynn Cruz, the Yellow Power Ranger, stopped in to sign autographs and meet fans Memorial Day weekend. She also spoke of her passion for helping those with autism.
This is amazing. I love the family friendly. You know, it's very warm in heart, especially coming out of this pandemic. there's nothing better than to see families coming in, bringing smiles to the faces.
It's been busy all day, lots of young kids meeting her, which I really, really like.
I am a part of the original, so let's say back in the Zordon era, more of when it kind of first started, and I got to do 2 seasons, so Power Rangers Turbo and Power Rangers in Space. And I am so honored that the fans have come out. I wasn't a part of the last movie, but I do have my own activity that's going on that you can find me, Tracy Lynn Cruz, Yellow Ranger, either Instagram, Facebook, you know, all the social media platforms. And I love, love, love my fans. It's TLC Yellow Ranger through all the social media platforms, and who knows, maybe one day I'll see you guys.
Are you going to have some other signings, or are you still working on that?
I'm working on trying to do one a month, and the other one that I'm working on, let's just say, we don't want to make them angry.
Ah,
How about that?
that's a good hint.
I'll give you that clue.
All right.
I am an advocate for autism, and I love to support families with children that are on the spectrum. I personally work with an organization called Spectrum Care Alliance, and this organization for me is very personal because it's kind of a one-stop shop for everything that is diagnosis. Whether your child is diagnosed or needs a diagnosis or needs to be referred for any type of therapy or, you know, anything like that. It's a one-stop. I know that for me personally, I get to share my testimony, and a lot of families are able to relate to me, and I can be able to let people know that you're not alone. And that's my biggest platform, is to be able to, I love talking to my fans, but it takes it one step deeper into my passion, which is bringing hope and bringing encouragement to families that have been impacted by ASD.
I could talk to her forever. Thanks so much to Tracy Lynn Cruz and, of course, George Chase and Hypno Comics for bringing her out. Can't wait to see who's next. We'll have more with your Medical Minute after this break.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by Canyon Ridge Periodontics. Give them a call at 702-966-0302.
Well, doctors say that most people can benefit from a routine that includes endurance training. In today's Medical Minute from Spring Mountain Medical, Dr. Jacob Steckel explains how physical activity can reduce the risk of many diseases.
This Medical Minute is brought to you by Spring Mountain Medical, healthcare the way you've always imagined it.
My name is Dr. Jacob Steckel, and I'm one of the chiropractors at Spring Mountain Medical. Today, I'd like to talk to you about endurance training, also known as cardio. Endurance training is one of the 4 types of exercise, along with strength, balance, and flexibility. Cardio includes any activities that increase your breathing and heart rate, such as walking, jogging, dancing, swimming, biking, and jumping rope. Endurance activities keeps your heart and lungs healthy and improves your overall fitness, making it easier to carry out everyday activities. Getting the recommended amount of activity can reduce the risk of many diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. The American Heart Association recommends 150 minutes per week, or 30 minutes per day, 5 days a week. If you're just starting out with exercise after being sedentary, don't rush it. It's important to set realistic goals based on your own health and abilities. Start out with 10 to 15 minutes at a time, then gradually build up the overall time. Men and women of all ages can benefit from endurance training, but get a doctor's okay before beginning, especially if you haven't exercised in a while or have any underlying health concerns. If your New Year's resolution includes having a healthier 2021, consider making endurance training a regular part of your week. At Spring Mountain Medical, the chiropractors and medical providers and staff are happy to help. Contact our office at 775-727-8900. I'm Dr. Jacob Steckel, and this has been a Medical Minute.
Thanks, Dr. Steckel. Well, life before the pandemic is slowly starting to return, and that can be a big adjustment for kids who may not understand why the rules are changing.
the pandemic is all a child may or may not know. But I think it's important for all children from, toddler to adolescence, as children are resilient. And so in some cases, much more resilient than adults.
Dr. Emily Mudd is a pediatric psychologist for Cleveland Clinic Children's. She says some kids may take longer to adapt than others, which is normal. However, if they seem to be having a hard time, there are ways to help them cope, like talking to them about how they're feeling and offering reassurance. It's also important to be a good role model for them. If they see you're stressed out about not having to wear a mask anymore, they may get stressed out too. Separation anxiety is another issue that has surfaced now that more parents are heading back to the office. Her advice: make sure to develop a new routine with them and explain what's happening in a way they'll understand.
If you're going back to work as a parent and you've been home most of the time, preparing your child for when that would happen, no matter how young they are. So talking about it, this is when mom or dad is leaving, this is when I'll be home. Keep those transition periods short, so the longer a goodbye is, the more a child has to think about mom or dad leaving.
Dr. Mudd says if your child's behavior has drastically changed and you are noticing a difference in their sleeping and eating habits, or they're making vague complaints about headaches or stomach aches, you may want to consult with their pediatrician.
Thanks to Brad Francis for that report. Well, if your computer isn't performing like it used to, it might be time for an upgrade. In today's Great Computer Deals Tech Tip, Josh Osborne says if you're running an old version of Windows, it's probably time for a new PC.
Hi, it's Josh with Pahrump Stone Great Computer Deals. Let's get right into it. It's time for another quick tutorial. How do I know it's time to buy a new computer? Well, here's one sign. You're currently running either Windows XP, Vista, or 7. Most of these older versions of Windows have already reached end of life and are now virtually impossible to use with modern internet technology. Since it will cost some money to purchase and have installed the latest version of Windows, why not just take that money and invest it in a new computer already running the updated software? Computer shopping can be really tough. Do I go new or used? What specs are worth the money and what's just hype? Come down and see our store and talk to somebody that has your best interests at heart. Why trust a technician when you can trust a friend? Great Computer Deals is located at 1190 East Highway 372. Call us at 775-990-8833.
Thanks so much, Josh. Well, to learn from the best is a gift to students. Today, we meet a classroom hero who's changing lives through his many talents. A master artist in ceramics, he's a hero not only on the campus where he works, but in his community as well. Kim Martinez reports.
Ceramics is definitely going to be a part of my life throughout the rest of my life.
Kyle Westland has a full load of AP classes at St. Augustine in San Diego and plans to study engineering at Notre Dame next year. But this year, he's found another love.
When I wake up in the morning, sometimes I'm sort of iffy about going to school. You're like, oh, it's senior year, maybe I should just take this day off. But then I remember I have ceramics block 1. And instantly, I'm like, oh, I gotta get out of bed.
Your spouse could go in.
No doubt the main reason for that devotion is this man, master artist Kota Shimuzaki.
Ever since I was a kid, I was a child, I've always loved making things. Anything from mud pie to just everything, you name it. I love doing things with my hands, so I think this just gives them an opportunity to sort of relax in a way, but explore at the same time the new part of the world that they're not exposed to. And I think every human needs a little creativity.
Even the pandemic didn't stop him.
It was not easy. I had to send them home with the material. That wasn't even easy.
Having less studio time because of COVID disruptions, it's surprising that Kota says this class has come the furthest along in the shortest amount of time.
I have never had so many incredibly skilled ceramic students.
A success he attributes to their desire to engage in something creative during the shutdown. Saints president Ed Hearn says Kota is not just a hero at school, but for the community as well.
They had to cut a lot of the art out of the public schools, and he thought that was just a disaster. So he came up with this idea.
Kota created a rice bowl block party in the neighborhood where he made and sold tons of handmade bowls, with all proceeds funding the art program in a nearby public school.
Classroom hero, definitely. I would say he inspires so many people here at Saints. to pursue their passion.
Kim Martinez reporting.
News 25 Weather Cam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
John Kohler staring out the KPVM weather window. This is Zubin Beach in Malibu Beach, California. Great place to head this weekend as temperatures rocket into the triple digits and beyond. Come on back, we'll tell you about all the weather.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Hi, it's John Kohler from the KPVM Channel 25 Weather Studios. How are you this fine Thursday evening? Probably the best day of the week weather-wise. Tell you the truth, let's look at it. Up and down, Fernley, Fallon, Carson City, Tonopah, Goldfield. You all got about 70 degrees for high temperatures today. As we march south, it gets a little bit more fuego. 83 degrees in Beatty. We've got 87 in Amargosa, 90 in the Big LV, Sin City, Las Vegas, and 96 out in Death Valley. Feels like scant temperatures compared to what's coming here in the paradise of Pahrump. Well, 84 degrees is what we're looking at currently. It was 86 earlier. Winds out of the west-northwest to 11 miles per hour. Again, pretty pleasant day. Little humidity, not hardly any. Sun rose this morning, 5:25. Setting this evening at 8:01. Let's make an appointment and watch it together, shall we? There'll be clear skies and the temperatures dipping down to 58 degrees, and that'll feel so fine compared to what I have to show you now. Oh my goodness, look at that. Yeah, temperatures coming up. 94 degrees tomorrow. Triple digits the rest of the week, as much as 112 degrees, and clouds and wind. Oh man, it's going to be a sweat fest, but we'll be here together to experience and enjoy it. It's going to be a nice weekend to be sitting by the pool, get a big glass of iced tea, some ice cream from the Nevada Dairy Council, and sit back and enjoy. So make plans. All right, back to the desk. It's Deanna.
Thanks so much, John. Well, we want to let everybody know, because I got a little late notice today about a class that is tomorrow morning. It begins at 8 a.m. there at Nye Communities Coalition. You can still get in on this class if you just show up there, and it's at 1020 East Wilson. This is free adult mental health first aid training. This is really important for people who might be having some issues, or even your family or friends. So it's at Nye Communities Coalition from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. There's a lunch from 12 until 1. For more information, you can call 727-9970 extension 204. They're going to be having a class later, or you can email Leanne at nyecc.org. That's nyecc.org. And if you just show up at Nye Communities Coalition tomorrow morning early enough for this class, you'll be able to get in. And that's going to wrap up this edition of News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell. Thanks so much for watching us. We'll see you here tomorrow.